Believe it or not, I had never played Chrono Trigger until recently, and a couple of weeks ago I rolled credits and I have ticked Chrono Trigger off the list. I have now joined a plethora of people that have completed Chrono Trigger, and I want to spend today's video in discussing that with you. So I'm hoping you can join me. For those that want Chrono Trigger from me in a nutshell, I agree, it is one of the greatest RPGs of all time. So if that was all you wanted, then I'll catch you on the flip side. For those that want to remain and see what this video is all about, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, I've got you covered with timestamps in the description down below, so if there's a certain section you want to skip to, you can feel free to do that. Whatever floats your boat. All I ask is for you to support the channel and hit the thumbs up button. So let's get straight into it, and I want to start off about talking streaming, because again, like Mystic Quest, please check that out video if you haven't already, I streamed this in its entirety. I didn't play anything off stream, I didn't do any grinding off screen. I literally went straight in and shared that experience for the masses, and I'm sure I'll have a VOD of that playthrough up somewhere eventually. But again, I had a great time streaming this, and I had a bunch of cool folks that were in there that didn't backseat, that didn't spoil anything, they didn't kind of like foresee anything or say, oh, it's about to happen. None of that. I couldn't ask for a better community while playing Chrono Trigger. And if you want to join that community, you know, the Discord's down below, and if you want to catch my live streams, that's all down below as well. But yes, Chrono Trigger was a treat to live stream, and I just wanted to shout that out. I want to put it out there for those that haven't played Chrono Trigger or completed Chrono Trigger. There's going to be spoilers in this video, but I'm hoping that most of the people that are watching this know Chrono Trigger back to front, and we can really kind of go all in with the discussions. Also, for those that might be interested in what version I played the version on Steam. I know this had a lot of bugs when it first came out on Steam, but time has passed and it's been recently getting patches, and even while I was playing it, it got a patch update. But I played it, it was perfect, there was no flaws. I added a few mods there to kind of make it feel a bit like the SNES version, so the fonts and some of the graphics here and there, and some of the numbers, and even the window color I think I changed to blue, just because, you know, Final Fantasy guy here, he needs to have that blue window color. But I digress. I used a mod on Steam and I had a great experience with that. Right, brief history of me and Chrono Trigger. This is very brief, okay? I have only ever, before this, played the intro to Chrono Trigger. It was always one of those RPGs that cropped up on the top 5, top 10 lists of like classic RPGs, and obviously with me not growing up with a Super Nintendo, there was a lot of RPGs that I missed out on, and Chrono Trigger was one of them. So I was one of those people that went and emulated it, but I don't know, the time just wasn't right for me. For some reason, when I go back and play games or try and play them for the first time, the timing has to be right, and I'd only played like the Millennial Fair intro. I'd never gotten past that. Anything else that you need to know about my experience with the Chrono series? I've played Chrono Cross. I played a lot of Chrono Cross when it came out with the Radical Dreamers edition. I'm pointing over there because I have a poster on the wall of it. You guys can't see that, but it doesn't matter. I played Chrono Cross and I hadn't completed that, but I got through that video quite considerably. So now that I've played Chrono Trigger, will I go back to Chrono Cross? Who knows? I might do, now that I know this Chrono Trigger story, and I might want to kind of notice the Easter eggs, because when I was playing the first time with Chrono Cross, I didn't get any references here or there. I just know that the main character was called Chrono, and that was it. But I don't want to go too much into my history. That is it in a nutshell. So let's move on and talk about Chrono Trigger. I'm going to start off with the story of Chrono Trigger. Wow, what an experience this is. This really lives up to today, because again, I went in this blind. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know any of the twists or turns, the choices you have to make, the fact that we're traveling through time, trying to make connections as I'm going through time, thinking, oh, wait a minute, that's this person, or oh my God, that's that person, or oh my God, this just happened and I don't know what to kind of comprehend this right now, the emotions I'm feeling. And it was a really really good ride. To be fair, I would probably compare it to being quite the roller coaster with me not knowing a single thing about Chrono Trigger, and the story was amazing from its characters to the places, which we'll go into more detail in just a second, but the story as a whole, really nice story, and the fact that we get multiple endings, and I've only experienced one, and for those that want to know what ending I got, I think I got probably the best ending you could get, the happy ending where everyone lives happily ever after, no one dies or anything like that. So yeah, I'm excited to probably dive in and do a few speed runs and get a few other endings, because I think all the Steam achievements are related to the endings, so that's something to aim for me. But I want to go straight over to the characters, because I feel like that's where Chrono Trigger shines to a certain extent. So we have a plethora of characters we meet along the way. We have Chrono, we have Marl, we have Luca, we have Isla, we have Robo, we have Frog, and we have Magus. I think that's the main cast. I'm hoping I've not forgotten anyone. I'm going to check my notes. That's everyone, okay? So yeah, we have a cast of characters, and some of these characters we can choose not to have in the party, and there's two in particular, believe it or not, one being Magus and one being the main character, Chrono. And I was playing through this, and I was coming across Magus and making that choice of if I wanted to get revenge at him, because at the time I was playing, he was the bad guy to me, and I was like, nah, this is not on. I want revenge for what he did. This is not on. I'm on Frog's side at this time of the game, and we're just going to do it. And I did it, and, you know, we killed him off, essentially, and he wasn't a recruitable character. Luckily, I had auto-saved before this, and I thought, you know what, I want to go in with the full party. I know maybe I should have stuck to my choices, but that was the only choice that I changed. So I went back and kind of forgave Magus. I was like, come here, dude, you know, it's all going to be all right. Join the team, let's have some fun. And, you know, the rest was history. History being a funny word because we're playing a game all about time travel. But yes, the characters are really nice. Chrono, even though he's a silent protagonist, there is one moment in the game which really got to me. It even teared me up quite a bit, and that's when he kind of like goes and then disintegrates, and I thought that was it. I didn't know that we were going to get him back, and then knowing later after I completed the game, Chrono was actually an optional character after that point. So when you're going after him and trying to find him with the Chrono Egg and do all these things, you didn't have to do that and didn't have to have him in the party, and that would affect one of the endings, which is interesting to me. But of course, Chrono was my main boy. I called him Jen, and we wanted to complete the game with him, so of course I got him. But these characters are nice. I mean, Marl is a bit Luca, very kind of quirky character with her inventions and stuff, and it seems like her only key part is with the beginning, doing the portals, but there is a very intense kind of like side story involving her mother, so that really brought a lot of her character as well, because you have the campfire scene and she wanders off, and that's your opportunity to kind of change the past, which again is a choice. You could do it, you can mess it up, and I really like that. Robo, what a character for a robot. Love this guy, the fact that he stayed behind in one of the periods and had nice little sprites kind of cultivating the land to make it lavish in the future was a really nice touch. Isla, very funny character, reminds me of Queena because I've not long played Final Fantasy IX before this as well, so the speech pattern and doing the voice acting for that was very entertaining and going through that period. Magus, you know, is a character you kind of come to understand as you get through the game. I forgave him the second time around, and we got to learn about his backstory and who he really was and why he is here in the story, and you know, are related to the dude. So a really good cast of characters here in Chrono Trigger. And with any RPG, you have your cast of main characters and you have your cast of side characters, and there are a few that definitely stood out. There was obviously the whole kind of royal storyline with the Chancellor. What a guy, even though he's possessed by a monster, but that whole story was a funny arc. The king, but the king in the present, who's quite stubborn, and trying to win him over with that storyline. You've got the monsters, so you've got like Ozzy, and I can't remember his two sidekicks off the top of my head. I know that someone's commenting right now down below what they are, and I appreciate that, but I forgot them at the top of the time, so we'll just kind of keep rolling. There is a really nice kind of supporting cast here from Chrono's mother as well. Some sweet scenes when you are at that point of the game where Chrono's not in your party. You really kind of feel it, and I really enjoyed the side cast that we had here in Chrono Trigger. Moving on from characters, let's talk about the world of Chrono Trigger and what a world this is, right? The world map isn't the biggest of world maps, but what makes it truly unique is the fact that we get to visit this world map over many time periods, and we can do something in the past that affects the future. And I really kind of got to grips with it. I kind of always had that joke while I was streaming this. It's sort of all about time. So time is a vital thing when it comes to everything Chrono Trigger. If there's something here, the answer's time. What's going off over here? The answer is time. Why is this changed over here? The answer is time. And the world of Chrono Trigger, talking to all of the NPCs and learning about the world throughout the time periods and putting the picture together, was really nice and gratifying, and I really enjoyed the world along with the characters of Chrono Trigger. So I want to touch on exploration, and exploration again related to time in Chrono Trigger. No surprise there, right? And I learned this very fast. I always had this kind of ongoing gag of like not knowing what to do and then realizing, you know what, I should be doing this in another time period, and then it will change here. So you're going around the world of Chrono Trigger. There's many chests to explore. There are many unique chests that have properties, and something I learnt on my own, and I know that a lot of people learn this after playing the game with the chests. If you kind of go and open it in the furthest time period ahead first and then go back, you get dupes. Or if you touch the chest and then you go to the future and then go back to the past, you get more of a unique item. There's something there, and it was really cool to kind of discover, not on the first time of opening these chests, but just messing around and being like, hold on a minute, if I do this and then do this, and does this do this? So really cool with exploration. Of course, I've mentioned the NPCs. The NPCs are vital here. You want to talk to every single NPC, mainly in the inns and the taverns, to kind of learn where to go next, or maybe there's an NPC that can do something that blocks your progression, but this NPC needs influencing from the past, so you go to the past to then influence the future, and then you ask the question again, and then he lets you go on your merry way. It is great, and it really has so many options to mess around with. Again, this falls into the choices. There are a few choices you need to make here and there for Chrono Trigger, and it really adds to the exploration. It was a hell of a time. I'm really digging it, and just kind of replaying all of this in my mind as I'm talking about it is just giving me nothing but good memories. Again, with exploration, we have dungeons, and dungeons mostly consist of like forests, caves, and things like that. And what makes them unique is some of them have puzzle elements here, so you have to do certain things, especially when you're doing I think it's a sub dungeon for Robo's ultimate weapon, maybe when you're going against Mother Brain. There's a lot of things you need to learn and teach yourself, and it's one of those things that you'll kind of go along, well for me anyway, go along and really not solve it for a long time, and then have that aha moment, that's it, which is my case in the streams. But it was one of those things that really added to the dungeons, because you strip that away, they're very generic dungeons. You're going through a cave, you're going through a factory, you're going through a forest, but these puzzles and just elements to these really added to that. So let's talk about combat. And combat going into Chrono Trigger, I was really excited for, because you hear nothing but good things when it comes to the combat of Chrono Trigger. The fact that we have seamless transitions is a win in my book straight away, especially in the day and age that this was created. I was much used to Final Fantasy, so I was used to the pixels dropping and going into a battle screen, or the swish in Final Fantasy VII, or the really slow camera in Final Fantasy IX. Having these snappy, seamless transitions into battle was fantastic, and the battle system we have here with the time battle system is really unique and really fast. I think there's a few things with the Steam version where it might be a little bit too fast, but I went all in and had active at all times because I wanted that challenge. I could have had wait, but active was the way I went, and had a lot of fun making those decisions very quick. Talking about those decisions, we have techs. Techs are really cool. They're abilities for your character. You can then team up with your characters to do a double tech, or eventually you can go around the world and collect triple techs. I didn't go out my way to do that, but I did have a few, and they definitely kind of won me over for battle systems, and really made the grind a little bit more easier, because I could defeat enemies with ease. Another thing that you kind of get in combat as you go along the game is magic. And magic, once I seen that, there was no looking back, because they were nice AoE attacks, especially when you get the second version of that element, and I was just doing really cool things. And then I unlocked Chrono's ultimate magic, again just blitzing through the competition, going through Chrono Trigger. Magus's magic really kind of, you know, made me look no further. And for those that might be interested, my final team consisted of Chrono, Magus, and Frog. I did have Robo in there for a while, but I really like Frog and just his character, so he won me over having him in the team filling that healer slot, while Chrono and Magus did magic and physical damage respectively. I guess while we're on the subject of just gameplay elements, I should talk about side content and just like hidden content, side quests and all that. There is no like visible markers for these, but you can come across these naturally. If you're talking to NPCs, if you're traveling back and forth through time and you see patterns in people, the way they're talking, you're going to unlock many side dungeons and side content, unlocking ultimate weapons and unlocking really cool benefits that will help you as you go towards the end game of Chrono Trigger. Again, there's no visible thing, so if you're in there thinking, well, I talked to this guy here to start the side quest, it's not necessarily how things work in Chrono Trigger. It's more or less of like just hoping it comes to you. You can go out your way, talk to many people to kind of start up the side quest, but again, it adds to the whole element of Chrono Trigger, going across time, figuring things out. And I'm sure there may be little things I may have missed here and there, but I had a really good time doing it. So from gameplay to music, and the music of Chrono Trigger, you know, before I play Chrono Trigger, of course I've heard the soundtrack. I'm one of those people that put a YouTube playlist up, or I will buy an album of a game that I've never played, but I know that it's really known for its soundtrack. Chrono Trigger was one of them. And then now having those soundtracks play in game as I'm going through Chrono Trigger was a real treat, because I knew some of these theme songs. Frog's theme comes on and I'm just like da 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 da. I absolutely loved it because I've heard these themes before, and now that they're put into action, really added to it. And I've not got a bad thing to say about the Chrono Trigger soundtrack, and I'm sure you guys will agree with that. So before I start wrapping up things when it comes to Chrono Trigger, I want to just kind of touch on the Steam version particularly, not like bugs or anything that I came across, because I came across nothing. It was perfect. It ran flawlessly. This is more of the extra content. I think I came across it and I was asking the chat about, oh, what's going off here? What are all these characters? And some of the people in chat just didn't know what was going on. They're like, I've never seen this before. So there is a bit of extra content that was introduced in the 3DS version, and then obviously it's been carried to Steam. I've read online, now that I've done the game, that they were really not worth going into. They're only there if you want some extra items to help you along your way. There's nothing that really adds to the story. I think there's a few things that might retcon a few things here and there, but I didn't dive in to kind of get that confirmed for me. So if you've played the added content from the 3DS version and the Steam version, let me know. But I thought I'll just add it in here because I thought it was necessary, because it's one of those things where I was like, I really don't know what to do, and no one else knew what to do. So that's that. So there we have it, Chrono Trigger. What a game. Like, really, honestly, just thinking about it and just kind of, I want to play it again because I want to experience some of these endings. And I guess another thing that I didn't touch on was the animated cutscenes that were introduced in the PlayStation version, but they were here present in the Steam version. They were really cool. Even though they repeated things that happened in game, it did add to it. Like watching Chrono disintegrate in kind of the cartoon form was really touching and really added to the emotion I was already feeling when that happened. But Chrono Trigger was a great game, and I think it's crawled into my top 10, if not my top 5. I'd have to look back at my top 5 now and see if it is there. But it is an incredible RPG, and I guess my message from someone that's just played it and completed it and had a good time, if you haven't played Chrono Trigger, play Chrono Trigger. You can get it on Steam. There are other ways to play it, of course. If you've got a 3DS rocking around somewhere and you don't mind playing the extortionate fees that it's probably worth on eBay, then play it on your 3DS. But I definitely think that this is one that's deserving of those lists that I mentioned about the top RPGs of all time. This is here, and it was great, and I had a really good time. And, you know, we're moving on to the next game. What could the next game be that we visit that I've not played before and bring to the channel? It's your time to get involved in the comment section below, and let's see what you come up with. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy the content you are seeing, subscribe to the channel. It supports me a heck of a lot. Hitting the like button also does that, and getting involved in the comment section down below is always welcome because we always have a good time in there. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.